What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing our second installment of building and heavily modifying my 2019 Subaru WRX. In the last video, you guys saw me start to disassemble the vehicle, get everything taken apart, the front bumper, rear bumper, side skirts, and all the basic things that you would need to do to replace those panels. Just in case you guys missed that video, be sure to check it out. I'll have it linked down below. In either the upper left-hand or right-hand corner, there will be a notation for you to go check that video out as well. Make sure you check out the first video before continuing through this one, so that way everything kind of makes sense. Now, I've already done a partial install of this body kit. Now, the whole point of this video is not to sit here and record every single step. There's two different sides to this vehicle. I wanted to figure out my course of action of how I was going to tackle this body kit and getting it installed. I've never installed a body kit on this model Subaru before. Some people will argue and say that it's going to be the same for every car, but that's just not the case. So I've taken the liberty of already doing the passenger side. So that way, for this video, you guys get a very clear understanding of what we're going to do for this side. I'm sure there's some other videos, but this is just how I intend to do it. I've done some research and got a pretty good idea of how we're going to do this. So to give you guys a pretty good idea, the front bumper is not on. I started installing that was a bit of a process, but we're going to save that for either later in this video or the next video. The Sabon carbon fiber hood was already installed. We do have the driver's side and passenger side front fenders on. We have the side skirts on as well. As you can see on the rear, we have the door over panel on. We have the rear quarter over panel on. There's also a rear bumper extension panel that goes on, as well as a side skirt extension panel that goes on here. We do have the rear tail light all buttoned in, as well as the rear bumper. We did also install the rear carbon fiber diffuser. So this will give you a pretty good understanding of how this is going to look on the other side when we're finished. Now, for obvious reasoning on these quarters, we did want to get some wheel clearance here. We are going to be running a bit of a wider wheel. So what we ended up having to do is cut probably about an inch or two from these quarters. We basically just drew a line and we cut and followed this just about to the end of the door sill. The very first thing that we're going to do on this side of the car is we're going to get everything taped and masked up from here and about halfway through this door. Even though this car is getting painted, we don't want to mess up the paint that's there. That's just more body work.
Cheers. It's that video now.
If you're gonna do that, you better chug the whole thing.
Peer pressure.
All right, guys, so we got everything taped and masked off here. And you're gonna wanna be able to have the door open. That way when you're coming in through here and making these cuts, obviously you don't wanna chop up your door. We're gonna start taking each panel, we're gonna start drilling each of the holes for the hardware to be able to mount them to the car. That way we can kind of line everything up, make the marks on the masking tape so that way we know where we need to drill into the car, line everything up, get it nice and dialed. So that way we get some good fitment, and then we're gonna go from there. So I'm gonna pop this back on a tripod, start drilling through, get these holes in, then we can start getting it mocked up to the car, get it on the door, get it on the quarter, get everything lined up. All right, guys. So we just got the. All right, guys. So we just got the rear quarter panel piece. So we just got the rear quarter panel piece mocked up. We went ahead and traced the upper area just so I have an idea of where to line it up. We also marked where the holes need to go to get drilled out in this quarter, so that way we can use the Cleco clips to mount it up, and then we can kind of use that as a basis for the door panel and the rear over bumper panel. So I'm gonna start drilling into the car. We're gonna go from there, and then we'll start working on these other panels. All right, we got one panel on already. This is just the rear quarter over panel. Now we're gonna repeat the same process of marking and drilling the holes on the door over panel. Do the same thing on these. Mark it, drill it, start to mock it up to the door, then we'll kind of trace where we need it to be just for future guideline reference, and then we'll do the same thing of marking the holes on the door, drill them, and then that way we can keep these panels mounted, make any cuts that we need to, basically any areas of clearance that we're going to need to fit our wheels, and just overall get everything lined up and gapped really well. If you refer to the other side, there's obviously even gapping all the way around. Any little imperfections that are there, the body shop will take care of, but we want to make the least amount of work possible for them in doing this install. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these marked and drilled, get this on the door, we'll pick up from there. We're making good progress. It really hasn't been that long from the last clip. So we already have the rear quarter panel, the side skirt extension kind of mocked up just to help with the gapping of all the other panels. We also have the door over panel on. And just to show you guys where we are kind of at, the gapping is really good. We didn't really heat up any of these panels, so for just being an out of the box type of kit, these are fitting really well, lining up really well. The only other piece that's going to be left aside from this piece is going to be the rear bumper extension that will also sit over top of that. So just to kind of give you guys an overview of what this will look like from the rear. And again, this does match exactly what I did on the other side, and this is the rear bumper piece that I was talking about that we're about to tackle now. So we're getting ready to chop up the fender here, so I just want to show a quick tip that I did on the other side as well. If you take a shoelace or you can take a piece of string or something, you've probably seen other people do this, but it'll help keep a consistent line. So that's exactly what we did here. It gives you a very conical shape, and it gives you for you to have a good cutting guideline. So we're just gonna go ahead and follow this. We're gonna start chopping stuff off, and then we're gonna mount the panels back up and make sure we don't have any clearance issues, and then that should be good as far as these panels go. It's time to start cutting. First and foremost, it goes without saying, please wear safety equipment, wear a respirator. This is fiberglass that I'm gonna be cutting in metal and stuff. You don't wanna be breathing that in. I don't need to tell you why, it's just not good for you. I do recommend wearing safety glasses as well. When you're cutting panels, you don't want shards of metal getting in your eye. I mean, these are, again, this kind of goes without saying, these are important parts of your body that you probably want to keep using for as long as possible. So do what you can to negate any issues with them in the future. So for the cuts, it's really simple. I'm using a Dremel. This isn't an expensive tool. You can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, any type of local store like that. They will have these, I think, for right around 100 bucks, give or take. It might even be a little bit less. This is a cordless one because cords make your life a pain, and I want more mobility, obviously, since I have to like get up in the fender and stuff. So what's cool is Dremel actually makes an attachment that allows you to slip on and off the blades that we're going to be using on here, which makes for a very easy cutting process. So just to give you guys an example of that, all you have to do is pull this clip down, insert your blade, turn it, and then it's locked in. This isn't going to come off. All right, guys, we are back to it. We skipped ahead a little bit here. I got ahead of myself and just kept cranking out. We're almost done. To give you guys an idea of where we are at. So we have the door panel on. We also have the rear quarter on. And now we have the rear bumper extension on as well. There's still some trimming that's gonna need to be made. Disregard this. This is not hard mounted yet. This is basically gonna be cut along the edge, and then that'll allow the wheel clearance to then go up. And I'll show you what I mean on this side. If you refer to this side, there's no lip here. The wheel can just sit right up in there. And then all the fine line edging, all of this will be tidied up by the body shop. They'll fix all the gapping. They'll make their sanding adjustments as needed to really perfect this. So my sole purpose was basically getting everything hard mounted, kind of alleviate some of the body work that the body shop would have to do. That way all they got to focus on is the little cleanup stuff and basically paint work. So that's gonna call it for this episode. If you like this type of content, remember to subscribe, hit the like button, drop some comments down below if you have any feedback. Maybe some of you guys are a little more experienced with this type of stuff than I am, so I'd love to hear what you guys think. That's it, no outro. You guys don't get nothing more. Hopefully the next episode of this will be at the body shop. Maybe we'll discuss some paint stuff. If you guys have any ideas of what paint color I should do for this car, leave them down in the comments. Otherwise, take some guesses if you guys have an idea of what color scheme I'm already thinking. Okay, bye.